the night Linya went to heaven, we received a call from the hospital that we had the opportunity to donate her corneas, the outermost lens of her eyes. And of course, that was a difficult decision to make, but one we felt like both Jesus and Linya would want us to do, to serve somebody else. And so we gave her corneas, and we found out later that 2 blind people received sight through her eyes. And they, to this day, they see life through the eyes of our Linya Lion.
Wow.
Like there are 2 people right now who see, and they see through her eyes. And I believe that God did the exact same thing to Jenny, my wife, and me through her going home. On the night she left, I did what no father should ever have to do. I had to reach out and close the eyes of my daughter. But what I didn't expect was that God was going to use her to open mine. And he taught me that you can look at anything you see in this world and you can see invisible things if you don't use the lens of human understanding, but if you use the lens of faith. And so in the book, what I'm talking about is I'm talking about how you can look at anything and see the invisible, like in 2 Kings 6. Elisha, Gehazi, they're both standing there in the same house, and they're surrounded by an army that's come to kill them. Elisha's not worried at all. Gehazi's terribly afraid. Elisha says, it's okay, there's more on our side than on our enemy's side. And Gehazi looks out at the door and sees like 100,000 soldiers, and he thinks, 100,000, but more on our side. Okay, so he counts him and Elisha. 1, 2. And he thinks, good thing you got into the ministry because math is clearly not your strong suit, guy, you know? He starts feeling bad for the bald-headed prophet to his side, you know? So then Elisha goes, oh, you're just looking at it through the naked eye. And then he says, God, help him to see the unseen. Now Gehazi looks again. What does he see? Same soldiers he saw before. They didn't go anywhere. But now behind them he sees another army. And what he realized was that the thing that had him surrounded was itself surrounded by God. Now, what's so important about that is that the angels, the Bible doesn't say the angels came when his eyes were opened, but that he could see them. So they were always there. So for me, I can look at my daughter's grave and I can see I don't get to walk her down the aisle. I don't get to teach her how to read chapter books. I can think all of that. Or I could say, she's with Jesus and Jesus is in me. Therefore, I'm holding hands with the one holding hands with her. So I'm still connected to her. And every day that takes me further and further away from her, that's how I look at it. Oh, I'm being torn so far from her because she was past me this way. Or I could say, she's in front of me where I'm going. So every day I wake up, doesn't take me further and further from me, but takes her closer and closer to me. And if I use the right lens, I realize that I'm moving in the right direction and she's more a part of my future than my past. So I want people with cancer to see, I look at death, but I see that he's the resurrection and the life. I look at loneliness, but I hear him saying, I'm with you always. I can look at loss and bankruptcy, but hear God saying, I'm your shield, your exceeding great reward. So you can look at anything and see what's there, or by faith see what God says is there. And if you do that, you can find incredible power in what's impossible pain.